But one of the things that it seems like you bring to that conversation, if you will, and maybe you bring it more and more as you're the president, is an understanding of the United States. I mean, you spent time in your early part of your career in the United States. Was that intentional? What did you learn about the differences between how they do business in Europe versus how you do business in the United States as it pertained to your role?
Yes, I spent 2.5 years in working in California, and that was an opportunity that arose. I was always open to the opportunity. Wasn't necessarily actively pursuing it, but the opportunity came, and it's one of those moments in your life, in your career, where you go figure, okay, I had 3 kids, they're all in school, and one was going to high school, and and the other one was about to as well, and it's pretty upsetting for the whole family, right? And we had a long discussion about it over dinner, well, a couple of dinners, I suppose, right, and not one dinner. And it's easy to think about 100 reasons why you shouldn't do it, right? Because your dad's not well, you just bought the house, we just actually redecorated the house, kids going to high school, all these reasons, and then we said, well, heck, let's just do it. Let's just do it. I mean, what do we got to lose?
Yeah.
Right? And we spent 2.5 years in California, which is a fantastic experience as a family, because it brings you closer, because you're going through all these changes, and you don't have your usual network of friends and family around. So, and from a business perspective, getting the opportunity to work at headquarters is very eye-opening, I would say. It gives you a chance to look at how corporate works, because obviously I was at the sort of, the European subsidiary end, and then you're in the corporate headquarters. It helps you understand much better what drives them, what is important to them. You obviously get to know the folks in headquarters. You bump into CEO when you're going up for a coffee. Those kind of opportunities are kind of fun. But learning more about the corporate culture and the corporate business is very helpful. Working as a lawyer in the US, a non-US lawyer working in the US, is pretty darn scary, right? So you learn a lot of things, because in Europe we sometimes tend to think like, okay, well, a lot of people will say, wow, doing business in the US is way more easier than in Europe, right? Europe is all these different countries and European laws, and it's complicated. Well, actually, I found that probably the US is equally, if not more, complicated. And not just because of claims and litigation and all that sort of stuff, but you have the different state laws, you have the federal laws. It's not really clear. Yeah. And I asked a question once to one of my public sector lawyers. I said, look, I'd like to get an overview of all the public procurement laws in all 50 states. Go find a law firm who does that and all that. And my guy said, well, not one law firm that does all that. Most law firms cover a number of states, and probably now maybe more, but that was not that easy. And then I think there's a lot of regulations in the US regulating how business is done, and this was the time of Sarbanes-Oxley being introduced, and that was pretty complicated stuff. So it led me to the conclusion that doing business in the US is on the whole, maybe even more complicated than it is in Europe.